today and welcome to another episode of the Brew Quest. Today's beer style is Belgian-Style Lambic, and today's beer is Spontane Wilde by Logsdon Farmhouse Ales. Now, I've seen this beer on the shelf for a couple of months now, not this specific one, but beers by Logsdon, and I've seen them a lot, and I just haven't tried anything from them, and this will be my first one. This beer is brewed in Oregon, specifically the Hood River region of Oregon. It is 7.4% ABV, and it has like a cool small description on the back. It says, Spontane Wilde, spontaneous beer brewed in the traditional method van Lambic. Our spontaneous fermented beer is brewed with Pilsner malt, raw wheat, and aged hops in the traditional farmhouse method. Wort set overnight in the cool ship loft. This beer embraces the raw natural flavors of the Hood River Valley flora, cave-aged in oak for 1 to 2 years to develop rich complexity and balanced acidity. So the only Lambic beer I've ever had was that fruited Lambic, the Framboise by Lindemans, and from what I remember, just slightly reading about Lambic in general, is that the non-fruited Lambics are not sweet at all. I remember saying that the Framboise tasted like a raspberry soda almost, with all that carbonation and all that sweetness. So this is going to be probably completely different, I think. To get a little bit more history on the style, I'm going to check out the craftbeer.com page and see what they have to say. So craftbeer.com actually lists this as Belgian-Style Lambic / Goose. And their entry says, Belgian-Style Lambic or Goose beers are naturally and spontaneously fermented with high to very high levels of esters, plus bacterial and yeast-driven sourness that sometimes includes acidic flavors. Lambics are not blended, while the Goose style blends old and new Lambics, which are re-fermented in the bottle. Historically, they are dry and completely attenuated, exhibiting no residual sweetness either from malt, sugar, or artificial sweeteners. Sweet versions may be created through the addition of sugars or artificial sweeteners. Many examples of this style are made to resemble the Goose Lambic beers of the Brussels area where it originated. Yep, like I remember, this beer is not going to be sweet at all. At least I don't think it's going to be sweet. And I've never had a beer from Logsdon Farmhouse Ales, so this will be my first one. I have seen some of their beers on the shelf, I think under the sours. They have like a lot of sour beers and saisons. I'm kind of excited. This is sort of a bigger bottle. So let's open this up, pour it out, and I'll see you right after this. Pour, and it actually smells really good right now. Like there's an aroma coming off of this beer that kind of reminds me of sort of like a champagne, I guess. I'm not too sure. Like there's a really nice aroma that's coming off, and I haven't really even smelled it yet. That's just what I smelled during the pour, or just during the pour. I also forgot to mention that I'm using an American style or a non-Belgian style Lambic because I wanted to see what American brewers are doing, and to be honest, it was kind of hard to find one. This is the only one I found in my local area, and I kind of wanted to compare both, but I realized that I should actually get a Belgian one as well, just for that kind of side-by-side comparison. And there's a few that are available. I think 3 Fontaine is the main one, and I think there's a 1 or 2 more, but I really want to get like a Cantillon, something like that, something super fancy, but that'll probably be in like a future date. But right now, let's get a nose on this. It's a very interesting smell coming off of this beer. It does actually smell sort of like a champagne aroma, sort of like that. It doesn't. It's not really funky or anything. It's kind of interesting actually. But I know this is not brewed with grapes, so that's why this is super interesting. This is a very nice, light pale or palish beer. Had really nice bubbles on the pour, but as you can see, they're pretty much almost all gone now. But enough looking at this beer, smelling this beer, let's taste it. Cheers. Mouthfeel was great. It's like a medium to thin. Wasn't expecting this to be thick at all. Good taste on the tongue, or good feeling on the tongue. Sort of, I'm not sure if that's the carbonation coming out, but it felt good. A little bit sharp though. Like there was like sort of like a sharpish sensation while drinking. The first thing I noticed is that there was no real bitterness to the beer. It was mainly sour, and it's like this super sour taste that comes through. I couldn't even taste like any of the malt. Like the biggest thing was the sourness of it. It's a lot different than the treated Lambic beer. But yeah, there's no real bad flavors. Like I'm not like, there's nothing about this beer that's making me like say yuck or it's too much. Bitterness is low, very low, almost non-existent. The malty flavor is not there. Or if it is, it's hiding underneath that overwhelming sourness, which is not bad. I actually kind of like it. It's very different from what the other things I've been drinking. This is more sour than any sour I've ever had on the Brew Quest or the side quest. Like those kettle sours are not as sour compared to this. I like that the sourness is like the main showcase of this beer, and obviously it's in the Wilde/sour beer category. I don't know if it's going to be one of those beers that I would turn to all the time, but if I'm looking for something sour, definitely check out one of these. But to be honest, if I'm going to go for that, I might as well go for a fruited Lambic, which is something I will probably enjoy more of. So that being said, where does this style land on my styles list? And I know a lot of people like Lambics, especially Belgian Lambics, and it's like one of their favorite things, but not for me. Right now, where I'm at is 13 is Fruit and Field, 14 Robust Porter, 15 English Style Brown, 16 German Style Marzen Oktoberfest. That's where I'm leaning in with this beer. This is gonna go in between the Robust Porter and the English Style Brown Ale. Right now, the Robust Porter is sitting at 13, and this is going to come in at number 14. I like it, and I like it a lot more than these other styles, mainly because of the great super focus or hyper focus on the sourness of this beer. To be honest, I'd rather drink the Fruit Lambic. That's going to be it for today's episode of the Brew Quest. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Whew, that's sour.